What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trench Warfare, and it is time for round 2 as we check out the offensive lines from the divisional playoff game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings. It's two teams fighting for the right to go to the NFC Championship game, and I'm breaking down the film to give you guys the inside-out information on the Hogs in the trenches. 3 plays from the Niners, 3 plays from the Vikings. Let's see which O-line had the most consistent play and understand how technique and communication helped the 49ers move on to the conference championship round of the 2020 NFL playoffs. Here we go. Time for introductions. For the 49ers, at left tackle, Joe Staley. At left guard, Laken Tomlinson. At center, Ben Garland. At right guard, Mike Person. And at right tackle, Mike McGlinchey. And now for your Minnesota Vikings, at left tackle, Riley Reef. At left guard, Pat Elflein. At center, Garrett Bradbury. At right guard, Josh Klein. At right tackle, Brian O'Neill. Replacing him during the game, RASHOD Hill. All right, so we're taking a look at this first play from San Francisco. This is going to be a play-action bootleg. It's important to note that when you're doing the play-action bootleg, what's essential to the play is that your offensive line comes off the ball as if they're actually running the ball. Look at what it does to these linebackers who are in the box. You have these linebackers in the box, and it holds them in place just for a split second longer than they want to be because they have to actually honor that kind of a fake. Opens up the deep ball to Emmanuel Sanders. Huge play on the first drive for the 49ers. Now let's take a look at the O-line. Now obviously we can see that the 49ers love to motion their fullback into the formation, but when you look at the initial takeoff by the O-line, everybody's on the same angle. Everybody's attacking the line of scrimmage. They're actually causing a reaction from the defensive line for the Vikings. You've got Kyle Juszczyk sliding back across the formation. Look at what this does to Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. It's going to hold them in place. Look at the signal that Anthony Barr is giving to Kendricks, keeping him in the box. And look at the O-line. They're coming off strong. They all have their backs low. And, you know, everybody gets a plus for that because that's a good fake that they sell to the defense. Holds them in place while they go over the top. Now they're in chase mode, and that has everything to do with the fake from the O-line and the fullback. Now this play here I thought was a big play early in the game. Third down. This is going to be a look at the protection from the 49ers, and this protection was interesting because as usual they kind of end up in those empty sets where the fullback or the running back comes out of the backfield. And this was actually a play that, for all intents and purposes, shouldn't have ended as well as it did. The protection kind of broke down here. Let's go over it. Take a look at what the guys did. Now, this is what I would call a hot protection. Because the running back's coming out of the backfield, it's going to be set up a certain way. On the left side, you're going to have one-on-one matchups. And on the right side, it's kind of a zone slide. So what happens here is you're going to have the center helping the inside of the right guard. You're going to have the right guard helping the inside of the right tackle. But in this situation, you have a couple of issues that I found with the left tackle and the right guard. For the left tackle, he was late with his punch. Joe Staley, kind of a thing that we see with him. He's been late with his punch a lot. Hands are low, but he has great recovery skills, which is something you don't see in a lot of linemen. He's able to get his hands in place, get his hands on elbows, get the D lineman off of his shoulder pad, and take back control of his protection. Now on the right side, 68, what he did wrong in his slide protection, he needs to keep that right arm free and keep his eyes on his tackle. The center's there. He has your help. So when you turn your shoulders like this, it doesn't allow you to position yourself in the correct manner to be able to help on any kind of inside move against the right tackle. And that's what ends up happening here. Keep your body arranged, keep your right side open so that when that inside move is made, you can go in there and shut it down to help out your right tackle. Now, the left guard, it was a very bad split by him. That's where everything started. There was about 2.5, 3 feet of space in between him and the center. And when you're in a situation where you don't have any help, when you don't have any back that can come through that A gap and chip up if he sees that this guy's coming free, you want to give yourself as much as an advantage as you can. And you want to close down that split a little bit so that you can take a small, pick him up and put him down set where you don't have to move your feet a ton. You keep your base, get your hands inside. He loses all of his leverage because of the space that he has in between him and the center. Now, at the right tackle spot, it's another thing that I see with these 49er tackles. They're catching. They're not really punching. They're not trying to stop momentum. They're just absorbing momentum. And in this situation, that defensive end gets his shoulders turned fairly quickly. And this is a play that could have saw Garoppolo get injured pretty badly. He got up limping, but that is a key reason as to why he was hit on this play. So the left guard, taking a huge split and not being able to close that distance, allowed for instant pressure, and that's what kind of pushed Garoppolo over to the right tackle. Now, this play to me was a thing of beauty. The 49ers had a huge day running the ball, 186 yards rushing, and this is one of the big reasons why. This is what it's about with the trenches. These guys got all over Minnesota when it came to the run game, and when you look at the end zone film of this and you see the angles that they're on, you see the takeoff that these guys have, the physicality that they use, it's just something that you have to be impressed with. So let's take a look at this end zone angle. And first and foremost, angles. When these guys come off the ball, they're running off the ball. Everybody's shoulder pads are in the same angle with the running backs. And it's just something that you have to really understand. Offensive linemen are drilled on this repeatedly. When we freeze it here, you can take a look and see. What's key for this play to be successful is going to be your backside cutoff and your front side C block. Now, C block is a block through the C gap between the tackle and the tight end. On this, you're going to watch the tight end, number 83, give a great quick chip to the tackle. Tackle's going to be able to take over that block on the defensive end. The defensive end actually made it harder on himself by closing down his shade a little bit. But the tight end makes a great chip block on that. They seal him off, and they're able to kick out the linebacker and the safety, who are the force players. Those are the guys who have to actually turn the play back into the backside. They're unable to do that. That gives the running back a huge alleyway to go on, and it puts him on the safety up top, at the top of the screen, and that's by design. You want that one-on-one matchup with that safety because that's going to be a difficult tackle to make. Now, the safety makes the tackle, which is good on him, but he is the last line of defense, and if he doesn't make that play, then you could probably guess that this run probably goes for another 20 or 30 yards easily. All right, now we're moving on to Minnesota, and boy, there are a lot of things that we're going to be talking about when it comes to their offensive line. A lot of issues in their protection, a couple of repeat offenders in their protection scheme, just some things that I saw on the line that just were not good things to see when you're talking about offensive line production. Now, from this sideline cam, it actually looks like it's pretty decent protection there. It looks like pretty good pocket for Kirk Cousins. He gets the throw off, as we all know. Stephon Diggs makes a heck of a catch, goes in for the touchdown. But let's take a look at the actual protection here, because there are some things that you're going to notice that will become more evident as the game goes on. This is early in the game. Let's start with the tackles. On the left side, 71, he's got a decent set as far as position goes, but I'd like to see him have a little bit more bend in his knee. His hands are up, his hands are ready, which is something different than what we see with the 49er tackles. But again, he doesn't provide much of a punch. It's more of a reach, and you're going up against these kind of defensive linemen who are highly athletic, highly skilled. You need to establish some kind of physical dominance, some kind of physical challenge to them, or they're going to eat you alive. Now, on the right side, 75 is in good position, but look at him. He's bending at the waist. He's got his head in his block. He's looking down, and you got to be able to see what you're blocking. He's got his knees over his toes, and it's just not something that's going to allow him to take on a Pro Bowl defensive end like Bosa. You're setting yourself up for disaster. Now the interior three, they set the depth of the pocket, 65 at the left guard position. Good initial set, but he doesn't make a punch. There's no punch, there's no separation. He has no balance, so as soon as contact is made, his hips open. But look at the center, 56, the exact opposite. Good set, good position, good balance. Punch, hand placement, strong in his set, replaces his hands, doesn't give up pressure. Even at the right guard spot, number 64 does a good job of getting his hands, getting an initial good set, solid punch, separation, gets walked back slightly, but he's able to use that inside arm to press that defender off of him, and it keeps him from giving up any pressure on the pass. They end it with a touchdown, but you got to be able to set that depth of the pocket. Now we're in the fourth quarter. Obviously, Vikings are down big. It's pretty much an offensive lineman's worst nightmare, knowing that you're going to have to be in pass pro the rest of the game. And against a defensive line like this, not something that you want to see. Now, we look at this pocket. Looks like a pretty good pocket here. But again, there are some technique issues that need to be discussed, and we're going to go over those once we get into the end zone clip. Now, if you haven't noticed, 69 is coming to the game at right tackle. That's RASHOD Hill. And on this play, I think that he, does a good job at his positioning, but his kick set is awful. He crosses his feet over. Luckily he didn't trip over himself. That would have been really bad. But this guy does have actually good extension with his arms. Not a huge puncher, but he got his arms out there. He kept the separation. He controlled the defender, had excellent recovery from his kick set, and he actually sits down and gets good control over the defensive end in this play. But on the left side, 71, having issues with him and getting his feet set. His right foot's actually in the air, or he's on his heel when he's trying to make this block. He gets a long arm from the defensive end, and that D end is in control of that pass rush situation from beginning to end. He's just hanging on for dear life, so I, definitely looking at a minus for how he is set up with his pass protection. Looking at the center and the right guard, they're doing a good job with their set, controlling 94, keeping the depth of the pocket secure for the quarterback. And kind of just like what I saw with the 49ers, want to keep that right arm out of it, want to keep your body arranged. He's actually doing a slightly better job than the Niners did with their right guard at keeping his eyes to his right tackle in case he needs to help. But let's look at the left guard, 65. Wow, this is poor. He's leaning, he's not punching, he bends at the waist. And he gets a swim move from the defensive tackle. And if you're looking at his legs, he's actually got his feet arranged as if he was on the right side. Has no base, has no balance. He's falling forward. And he's very fortunate that the quarterback did not get hit or did not suffer a sack on this play, because that's really just a very poor set that he took. He has no control. He actually gets turned around completely. And that's just not the way you want to look on film. And finally, let's look at this 3rd and 7 play. This is where everything kind of falls apart as far as protection goes. You're going to see more in the end zone cut, but they give up a sack here. They give up a sack fairly quickly. It happens real quick, and it's coming from that left side. Left side has been having issues all day, it appears, with the left guard and the left tackle in their protection, in their technique. And you got two defensive players here who are dead set and have their sights on the quarterback, and they make it home. And that comes from the left guard position. 65 gives up a sack on this one. We're going to take a look at it from the end zone. Now, as you can see, they're communicating well here. They're setting up to get the right people blocked. Again, the left side is going to be one-on-one. And when you look at the protection here, let's start with the left tackle. 71 opens his hips immediately, got no punch. He's catching. He's giving too much ground up too fast. So when you turn your hips like that, you're creating a lane for the defensive tackle, actually, so that he can get through, have quicker movement to the quarterback. 69, again, good extension, good strength. He's pushing the defensive end upfield. He's got good balance. I don't like his footwork. I don't like that he keeps crossing over. He's actually turned to the sideline as well, but he does a good job because he's got long arms, and he's using them to keep that defensive end from making any kind of pass rush move to push up to the quarterback. And when we're looking at the center and the right guard, center's got his inside help. Right guard's doing a good job of getting in good position, gets pushed back a little bit, but overall they do a good job of keeping 91 under control. But again, here we go. The left guard, 65, bad set. Look at him, he's up on his toes, no balance, bending at the waist, eyes are down, has no idea where he is on the field, and he gets hit with a quick swim move. And these guys probably game planned this in their film study, looking at how he reacts to certain moves. He doesn't really have any control right now, and this defensive end makes quick work of it, gets right off of his attempted block, gets straight to the quarterback for a punishing sack on Kirk Cousins. And that's just something that, you know, is not acceptable when you're an offensive lineman. You can't get beat that quickly when it comes to the pass protection game. And there you have it, guys. That is the end of the second episode of Trench Warfare. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe to the Observant Lineman, Uche Nwaneri. I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.